Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the PintSizeAnalyze podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be recapping what really turned out to be a frustrating weekend for the Mariners in Baltimore. They ended up losing the series yesterday in 10 innings, today in 9 innings, and I'm going to look on the bright side and look at a Mariners reliever whose numbers have and performance has very, very much improved in this month of June because of what I believe to be a new pitch in his arsenal that is allowing him to that's allowing him to just expand his arsenal and put pit and have a consistent pitch to throw to hitters that he has not been able to throw before, because as we all know, all pitches in a pitch mix work together. A fastball can complement a slider can complement a curveball, a slider can complement a cutter, etc., and a cutter can complement a slider, etc. So, for a pitcher to have as many pitches in their arsenal that's possible that are all working with each other is very, very important, and it's a great thing for a pitcher to have, and that's exactly what we're seeing with Matt Brash since he has added this new pitch into his arsenal. So I'm going to start today's episode by just recapping what happened yesterday. The Mariners lost 6-4 in 10 innings in a game that was started for the Mariners by Bryce Miller. He went 4 1/3 innings, giving up 6 hits, 3 runs. All three of those runs were earned. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 1 home run. And his season ERA is now 3.88. And then the game was started for the Orioles by Dean Kramer, who went 7 innings, giving up 5 hits, 3 runs. All 3 of those runs were earned. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and he also gave up 3 home runs. And then his season ERA after the game was 4.5. So let's look through the Mariners box score for the hitters. Julio went 1 for 5, Julio went 3 for 5 with 1 run, 1 RBI, 2 strikeouts. JP 2 for 5 with a run. Ty France 0 for 5. Unfortunately, snapped his 16-game on-base streak at the time. Teoscar 0 for 4. Kelnick 0 for 3 with 1 walk. Suarez 0 for 4. Raleigh 1 for 4, Ford 2 for 4, Mike Ford with 2 home runs this game. That really saved the Mariners and kept them in this game. Mike Ford sent the Mariners into extras in the top of the ninth against Felix Bautista, who is, in my opinion, probably the best closer in Major League Baseball right now. There's definitely some other great players and other great closers up there with him. Yesterday's exit velocity leaders were Gunnar Henderson with a 110-mile-an-hour single off Ty Adcock. That was in the bottom of the 8th. Mike Ford with the first of his home runs. That was at 109. JP with 108.5 on his single. Cal 107.5 on a single. Julio 107.4 on his home run. And then Mike Ford on his second home run of the game, 106.6. Ryan McKenna 105.9. This was the home run that won the game, the 2-run walk-off home run in the bottom of the 10th. Aaron Hicks 105.1, and then Adley 104.2. That was a double play, and then Julio 104. That was off Yennier Cano, which is amazing to see him hit a 104-mile-an-hour single off Yennier Cano, who has been an excellent reliever, putting up historic numbers. And then Julio also had a 100-mile-an-hour single off Dean Kramer earlier in the game as well. That was also very, very good to see. And then as for the swings and misses yesterday, Bryce Miller had 9 whiffs. Kramer had 12. Andres Munoz, in not even a full inning, had 3 whiffs. Mike Baumann had 3, and then Paul Sewald had 3 whiffs. As for top distances, Mike Ford 434, and then Julio 395, Hicks 426, Santander 415, Ryan O'Hearn 403, and then Bautista just lighting up the radar gun, which is a theme that you'll see today from today's game as well, was that he absolutely lit up the radar gun. Today's game, another close game, another game the Mariners could have won. They lost 2-3, this time in 9 innings. This game was started by George Kirby. He went 6 and a third, giving up 6 hits, 3 runs. Only 2 of those runs were earned, though. 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, 1 home run, and his season ERA is now 3.26. Brash also went two thirds with runners inherited, runners on base, and with just 1 strikeout. He only needed 4 pitches, I believe. Spire, 1 inning pitched, giving up 1 hit, 1 strikeout. And then for the Orioles, they had Kyle Bradish go 7 innings, giving up only 2 hits, 2 runs. Both of those runs were earned, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. And then they had Colome go 1 inning pitched, 1 strikeout. And then Bautista, he had 1 inning pitched, giving up only 1 hit and 3 strikeouts. As for the numbers from today's game, Cal Raleigh led all hitters with an exit velocity of 113.7. He sent a 113.7 mile an hour rocket right onto Utah Street, and it'll be exciting to see next year when the Mariners visit. The hopefully permanent marker that will be in place at the time. Next year when the Mariners visit Baltimore. And then Austin Hayes was 109.3 with a ground out. Santander, 104.9. He also hit a home run today, again. And then Julio, 104.9. Now this Julio flyout right here was unfortunately robbed by Santander, who later hit a home run. That Julio flyout was unfortunately robbed, as we all know, though. I forgot to mention, but Julio did rob his very first homer in the major leagues yesterday, and unfortunately he got a home run robbed today by Santander. And then Gunnar Henderson, 103.7, Adam Frazier, 102.3, and then Cal, 101.5 off the bat, although all of those were outs. One of them was even a double play. And then now to get into the side of today's episode where I want to discuss the performance of Matt Brash. So, as we all know, Matt Brash was acquired by the Mariners for Taylor Williams, who was at the time Matt Brash was a player to be named later. Taylor Williams was a major league reliever for the Mariners. This was at the trade deadline in the COVID-shortened 2021 season. He was there, and Matt Brash was in the Padres system. Taylor Williams was pitching for the Mariners out of the bullpen, and they were traded for each other, although it was originally for a player to be named later. The Mariners got Matt Brash. Matt Brash exploded in 2021. He was a top 100 prospect by the end of the year. And then going into last year, he was starting. He won the Mariners' fifth starting rotation spot out of spring training. And then was then optioned to AAA, where he was converted to a reliever, and then came back up and was kind of a lights out reliever for the rest of the season for the Mariners. And this season, unfortunately, has started with some hiccups for him. Through 30 appearances now, he has a 3.82 ERA, a 3.17 expected ERA, 1.61 FIP. So as you can see, big discrepancy between the ERA and the FIP, and then 2.17 xFIP and 1.1 FWAR. But some interesting things that you can see with Brash are that he also had a 493 BABIP, which is very, very rare, and certainly seems like it wouldn't be sustainable through 30 and 2/3 innings. And then with Brash, though, he also has a 40% exactly strikeout rate, almost 8% walk rate, and 32% strikeout to walk percentage. So as you can see, it makes sense why the FIP is so low. He generates a lot of strikeouts, doesn't walk a lot of people, and then as you can see with Brash as well, he also has only a 0.29 home runs per 9, so very, very low amount of home runs per 9. But even as you can see here with Brash, though, FIP, he's kind of a pitcher that's kind of built for FIP. He, like I said, lots of strikeouts, minimal walks, no home runs. But as you can see by FIP here, he is only 4% above league average by ERA minus, but then 62% above league average by FIP minus. And then if you go down to the batted ball section as well of Fangraphs, then you can see also that he has a 2.11 SIERA, which is skill interactive ERA, and then a 51 xFIP minus, so 49% above league average by xFIP minus as well. And that 2.11 SIERA is very, very it really goes to show just how how overwhelming the stuff is for Brash, and how just how little he gives up hard contact. Because the thing with Brash is that that slider generates contact. He gets a lot of ground balls, but a lot of times that ground balls will be softly hit, not very hard. Not ideal launch angle. But unfortunately, those balls have just been seeming to become hits for Brash this year, and it's a huge reason why he has the 493 BABIP. But since June 4th, Matt Brash has been throwing a cutter in Major League games. Now, if you were unfamiliar, Brash was looking at a cutter, incorporating a cutter into his arsenal in spring training, and we saw videos of him working on that cutter in during the off season, and then he was throwing the cutter during the WBC as well. This was him pitching for Team Canada. We can see footage of that right here. Is the playback speed? Yeah, playback speed is normal. I'm not sure why it's like this, but as you can see, we could see footage of the cutter like that right there, and he ended up getting 3 strikeouts in just this outing alone off the cutter. Here was the second one right here. Yeah, so there's the third one right there, and then the first one was that one right there. Now, if we go to Statcast search, though, I am able to see that I'm able to look up every cutter thrown by a Mariners pitcher this year, and I had been curious up until up before this point. I had brought this up with some friends, that I had known that Brash was working on this cutter during the off season, and I really thought it would help him. And I had been curious why he hadn't been throwing it. Now, he started throwing it on June 4th and has only thrown it 21 times, but in the 21 times in the 21 times that he's thrown it, he has it's maxed out at 96.3 and then 89.4. It's consistently sitting, well, I mean, a 94, 95 is where I would say it's probably going to sit moving forward. He's just thrown it such a small amount. But here also were the 2 whiffs that he has gotten on it so far. I decided to add those as well. They were actually in the same adding. The first one was to Jake Berger, and then the second one was to Andrews. As you can see, it almost even looks like a slider, and it almost even has the velocity of his slider. Although Brash usually throws his slider more like 89, 90, but it almost has that slider velocity to it. Just a few ticks above is the cutter compared to the slider. And since adding that slider, or the cutter, I mean, to pair along with his slider, knuckle curve, and then fastball, he has, since June 4th, he has a 2.08 ERA, 1.08 FIP, and 2 xFIP, along with, and that is an 8 2/3 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts, 2 walks, 14.4 K per 9, 2 walk per 9, 0 home run per 9, average exit velocity of only 88.2 as well, which is, obviously limiting the hard contact, 50% ground ball rate, 77% left on base rate, and then this doesn't include today's outing as well, where he pitched the 2/3 of the inning, and just had the 1 strikeout as well, had the 1 strikeout, and then also had just a weakly hit ground ball that was an immediate out. So this is just the recap of how Matt Brash has been pitching recently. I am very, very much excited with how he's been pitching. I think that he's taken a next step forward out of the bullpen, and I can't wait to see where he goes with this cutter in his repertoire. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope you appreciated watching it, or I hope you enjoyed watching it. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.